I don't know what kind of family you grew up in, but I grew up in a place where emotions were a luxury, where silence could hurt you faster than yelling ever could. You could sit at the dinner table, surrounded by everyone, and still feel invisible. You learned to read the room before anyone even walked in. You learned when to smile on cue, when to hold your tears until the timing was right. So if you've ever lived like that, I'm not going to ask you, are you okay? Because people like you have been hiding the answer your whole life. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And I learned that truth, not from a book, but from my own family. This video isn't a lecture. It's a message from someone who once believed they were broken, until they realized, maybe I wasn't wrong at all. Maybe I was simply the first one in my bloodline awake enough to feel everything. If you were the most sensitive one in the coldest family, stay. We need to talk. I used to think I was the one with the problem. No one ever said it out loud, but their eyes were enough. You're making everything too complicated. All because I could sense something was wrong in a house that looked perfect from the outside. All because I'd cried for reasons no one ever bothered to ask about. All because I couldn't pretend not to see the things the adults kept trying to hide. I don't know when it started, but I learned to predict everyone's mood just by the sound of their footsteps at the door. I knew when my mom would go silent for 3 days. I knew when my dad would start breaking things because no one understands him. I knew how to keep the peace by abandoning myself. Later, when I read Jung, I didn't see him as some great psychologist. I saw a man who had lived what I was living. Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And for people like me, the sensitive ones, the scariest thing isn't other people's emotions. It's our own. Family, according to Jung, is the first place the soul must pass through, not to be comforted, but to learn how to survive among performances. And if you're the only one in your family who feels that something is off, chances are you're the awake one in a house full of sleepers. You're not too sensitive. You're simply the one who can feel the truth the whole family has trained itself to forget. And I'm not saying that to soothe you. I'm saying it so you remember your feelings aren't a flaw. They're a map. And then one day I realized the problem everyone said I had was actually a kind of ability, a gift, even if at first it felt like a curse. Because here's the truth. When you grow up in a family where no one speaks honestly about their feelings, the person who senses the truth will always look like the troublemaker. I could feel anger even when my mother's voice stayed soft. I could hear disappointment in my father's, "It's fine." I could tell when someone was hurting even when they hid it behind a smile. And the irony? The more I felt, the more I was labeled too sensitive. But I never saw myself as sensitive. I saw myself as honest. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Maybe that's what an empath is in a family full of shadows. Not the one who brings the light, but the one who points to all the places the light has never reached. People like me aren't avoided because we're weak. We're avoided because we see what others are trying to hide. We see too clearly, too early, too deeply. You didn't choose to become the mirror, but once you've seen the truth, you can't pretend you didn't. So if you've ever been called too much, maybe ask yourself, or am I simply feeling things accurately, while everyone else got used to being wrong and no one dared to say it? And when you live as a mirror for too long, reflecting everything people don't want to see, sooner or later, they start hating the mirror. Not because you're wrong, but because you make them see the thing they've been running from. For years, I thought I was the problem. Later, I realized I wasn't the issue. I was simply the place where every issue got dumped. No one said it out loud, but a quiet pattern formed over time. Every time something went wrong in the house, I was the one who got blamed the most. Have you noticed this too? In dysfunctional families, there always has to be a scapegoat, someone who's too sensitive, too dramatic, too unstable, all so the family can avoid admitting that everything around them is what's actually falling apart. Carl Jung called this projecting the shadow. He wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But instead of understanding themselves, my family, like so many others, chose the easier path. They unloaded everything onto the most vulnerable person. The empath, the most sensitive one, becomes the emotional drain pipe. Every repressed anger, every buried hurt, every unspoken secret finds its way onto that person. And strangely, I endured it, not because I was strong, but because I was used to it. Used to people feeling lighter only when I felt heavier. Used to carrying sadness that didn't belong to me. Used to playing a role no one named, but everyone relied on. There's a line from Jung I've never forgotten. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But before you get to become yourself, sometimes you first have to live as the container for everything your family refuses to face. But there's something heavier than carrying other people's emotions, having to feel them before they do, just so you don't get swept away by them. I wasn't taught how to live. I was taught how to stay out of trouble. I learned to read the air the way other kids learned multiplication tables. I knew when my father was about to explode, not because he yelled, but because the room suddenly went quiet in a different way. My mother would hold her breath, the clinking of dishes would sound like an alarm, everything changed color, and I could feel it before anything actually happened. I knew when to slip into my room at the right moment, when to stay silent, when to pretend to be asleep, when to act extra good. No one explained the rules, but I understood them, because not understanding meant I'd pay for it. I'm not spiritual the way online quizzes like to label people. I was just a kid who didn't want to get hurt anymore, and I know I'm not the only one. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And I finally understood. This ability to read people isn't magic. It's survival, the skill of a child who grew up among emotions so repressed no one dared to name them. You're not too sensitive. You just had to learn to feel so you'd know when to protect yourself. And if you were never allowed to speak up, then your emotions were the first weapon you ever had. But here's the real problem. When you grow up feeling for other people first, you eventually forget which emotions are theirs and which ones are yours. It took me years to realize that, to see that I wasn't responsible for fixing my mother's sadness, or my father's rage, or my brother's year-long silence. I thought I had to repair the atmosphere in the house every time it turned heavy. I thought I was being kind, but the truth was, I had lost my boundaries without even noticing. Empaths like me confuse boundaries with rejection. Saying no makes us feel cruel, not listening makes us feel guilty, not staying to absorb someone else's emotions makes us feel selfish. But then I learned, if you don't know where you end and others begin, you'll eventually disappear inside them. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And I couldn't become myself without learning how to hold on to myself first. Boundaries, even when they made me feel guilty at the beginning, were the first thing that let me breathe. Not to push people away, but to stop losing myself when I'm near them. They're not a wall, they're a fence, so I can remember I exist and that my existence has value. If you're an empath, you probably understand. Setting boundaries isn't a lack of love, it's loving in the right direction, starting with yourself. And when I finally started setting boundaries, I realized something even bigger than myself. The pain I was trying to heal was never just mine. It's older than me. It began with my mother, a woman who was never allowed to cry like someone's daughter. It began with my father, a man who learned to shout because no one ever listened to him. It began with my grandparents, people born into wartime where silence mattered more than truth. I wasn't the first one hurt, but maybe I'm the first one awake enough not to pass it on. I used to think my pain was personal. Now I know. Every time I choose to respond differently, I'm rewriting the emotional history of my entire bloodline. Carl Jung once wrote, "Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their children than the unlived life of the parent." And I understand now that the wounds I'm healing are sometimes the unfinished dreams of the generations before me. Empaths don't just feel, they transform. They don't just carry, they filter. They become the final funnel where all the unprocessed pain passes through. and for the first time gets named, understood, and healed. If you've always felt different in your family, if it feels like you're doing too much while everyone else repeats the same old mistakes, maybe it's not because you have too much time. Maybe it's because you were given the job of cutting the cord, the job of stopping the cycle, the job of putting everything back where it belongs through your own awareness. You may not have chosen to feel this much, but your soul did. And if you're still in the middle of that journey, quietly healing, slowly peeling back layers of emotion that were never yours, know this: you're not lost. You're ahead. You were not cursed to feel too much. You were chosen to feel what others cannot. You are not weak. You are brave because you dare to feel. And your healing is an invisible gift to the generations no one ever understood. If you see yourself in these words, leave a comment. Share one moment when you chose yourself instead of carrying the weight again. And when you're ready to go deeper, watch the next video. Narcissistic parents: what happens when they push the empath too far? To understand why the sensitive one is always the one who gets hurt until they stop staying silent. You're not alone. We are waking up together.